everybody, it's Aaron back from Screen Stars, and I'm here once again to do another review for Geek, Legion of Doom, and today I am here to review the 2018 horror film Beloved Beast, a film that is written and directed by Jonathan Holbrook, and it stars Sanae Loutsis. Now, this film focuses on Nina, a teenager who at the beginning of the film loses her parents in a tragic car accident and is forced to live with her aunt, who doesn't really want her, and her aunt is not a particularly nice person and is into crime and drugs, etc. So Nina has to she spends most of her days fantasizing about fairy tales and things like that. However, also running alongside this story is there is an escaped mental patient who has escaped from the local sanitarium, who has a hobby of killing people, seems to do it pretty effectively. He's a giant of a man, and he's spending his days wandering through the woods and killing anybody he comes across, while the police hopelessly try to track him down. And lo and behold, the paths of Nina and this crazed psychopath cross paths somewhere into the film. Right, I genuinely don't know where to start with this film. This film is... well, let me just start by saying this film is 2 hours and 53 minutes long. Just take a moment to take that in. 2 hours and 53 minutes long is described as epic, an epic horror film. This, I would miraculously describe this film as a horror film who forgot to hire an editor, because there is no reason on earth that I can muster as to why this film is so long, because it's littered with overly long scenes, cast members that talk really slowly, scenes drawn out, unnecessary scenes, and I mean a whole multitude of unnecessary scenes that were probably filmed and then you would edit them out or edit them down to bring this film into something like 80 to 90 minutes. Nobody seems to have done that, and you get scenes of people talking in a diner with a guy with no penis, and I'm literally not kidding there. And there's all these ridiculous scenes that go on, and these storylines about local crime bosses and things like that, and hitmen and drug smugglers that have got nothing to do with the core story. And the core story that this film is trying to get to is the story of this girl Nina and this homicidal lunatic maniac who's escaped from the asylum. His story is very much like Michael Myers. In fact, it's pretty much ripped off from Michael Myers, but very much of his story. That part of it isn't original at all. Now, the idea here, the very idea of this girl and this killer coming together and almost like forming some kind of unspoken bond, if you like, if you can get to that point in the film, because I'm not kidding, I think I timed it. I think it was something like, I think it was almost 2 hours into the film when these two feet meet for the first time. So you've got 2 hours of nonsense beforehand, really. There's so much wrong with this film, and the frustrating thing for me watching this film was there's a film in here somewhere. There really is a film in here, because the idea itself is something quite nice and different and original, but they've fluffed it out with all this unnecessary nonsense that I challenge anybody out there to make it through this film. It's nearly 3 hours long, and this is not like Lord of the Rings production values where you can sit through a film that's 3 hours long, or the new It film that's nearly 3 hours long. We're talking a low budget film here that's 3 hours long, with questionable acting for the most part, terrible like prop design, not particularly interesting cinematography, and terrible writing for the most part. So it's an absolute chore to sit through this film. I can't believe I made it to the end. I genuinely cannot believe I made it to the end of this film. When I was watching this screener, I usually check how long they are, and when I start watching them, I'll touch the screen and see how long it is. And when I saw it was 2:53, I thought, that's a mistake. There has to be a mistake. Maybe there's like some extras and stuff at the end, features, or I don't know. Sometimes you get that sort of stuff, like trailers added on at the end of these screeners now and again, stuff like that. And then I looked on IMDb and I checked it there, and it was the same. And I just like, oh my god, how am I going to get through this film? Because at that point I was about 15-20 minutes into it, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get to the end of this film? I did it for you guys, to tell you that really this isn't a film worth bothering with, unless it is drastically edited down and they get to the very core of this story of this girl and this killer. It's fluffed out with these odd ideas, like I say, the fairy tale stuff, and this weird slow pace throughout. Literally most of the cast members talk like they're on sedatives, and there's a weird streak of humour through it that just does not fit the film. I'm not kidding. It's just odd humour littered throughout the film. I could have edited this film down. I'm not kidding. You watch this film, you could look at scenes and think, well, that either doesn't need to be there, or you can chop that scene in half. Because you know, like in scenes where this killer's stalking someone, you know what's coming. These scenes are like stretched out over like 5 to 10 minutes when they could have been done in a minute and a half. You know if someone's going to get killed. You don't know the character because you've just met them. You just want them to get on with it, and they stretch it out over like 5 and 10 minutes. It's bizarre. So I've got to give this a 4 out of 10. It's a huge misfire by the filmmakers. It's a weird choice for a low budget horror film to make it A, this long, and B, this tiresome to get through. So yeah, I really would give this one a miss if I were you guys. It's an odd film that is a bit of a shame, and it's very frustrating because I do feel there is a film in there somewhere, but I don't think there's going to be many audience members out there that are going to have the patience to watch it and accept some of the problems with this film. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Geek Legion of Doom for more reviews. Thanks for watching.